Hey everyone, Jonathan here, coming at you with a quick review of the DC All-In Special. Now, if you're not familiar with the DC All-In Publishing Initiative, this goes along with their Absolute line, which essentially is DC's answer to Marvel's Ultimate line. Obviously, these projects are to be created, so I don't know if the Absolute line is an answer to Marvel's new Ultimate line. Did they see the success of Marvel's Ultimates and went, oh, yeah, let's do our own thing? Or were they already planning it? Who knows? But in any case, here we are. So the All-In, so it's a little bit confusing. So the DC All-In side of things is the, air quotes, proper DC universe. It's the aftermath of Absolute Power. So, of course, Absolute Power, Amanda Waller is trying to take over the world, really kind of the multiverse, as it turns out. Spoiler alert, sorry. Obviously, she's not successful, but in the end, the heroes realize that they were wrong to disband the Justice League. No duh. And so this comic is kind of a reset, not for the Marvel Universe, but maybe in a way kind of a reset for the heroes and how they're going to work together. So basically kind of coming back together as the Justice League. Now, when I first picked up this comic, I saw, of course, I got the foil version because I'm a sucker for foil. And I noticed that there were two covers. And you could actually look at the book from two different ways. One side had the absolute versions of some of the Marvel heroes, the Trinity, with Swole Batman, with Final Fantasy Wonder Woman, and I don't have a funny, maybe orange glowy Superman. Anyway, so that's the absolute versions of the characters, and then you have the regular DC version on the other side. And then in between, you have this, you have the Omega symbol, which is Darkseid's symbol, and he's on both covers. And he's got his I-beams, which now I'm forgetting the name of them, and now I have to turn in my my comic book fan card. Anyway, so it starts the I'm going to start from the regular Marvel DC, or regular DC side. So it starts says 52 days later, so obviously that's 52 days after Absolute Power. And of course, that's kind of probably a shout out to the New 52, which was another reset that DC did years ago. Which actually was a pretty good reset, I felt like. Let's see, primaries on here. Joshua Williamson and Scott Snyder, the writers. And then Daniel Semper. I don't know if the E is silent, but it might be Semper. So it kind of goes through, starts off with the kind of an overview of where we've been. Of course, Absolute Power was building up from various events, getting up to this point, and we see that Superman's kind of going around to check how things are going, and he catches Booster Gold being a superhero, and he says, Booster Gold, let's have you join the Justice League, and gives him a membership card, which is funny too, because when I went to the comic shop, they gave us, a complimentary Justice League membership card. I'm assuming they're all different. Mine had Batman on the back, so it's kind of funny. So Booster Gold, and then we see the new Justice League Watchtower space station, which I think looks pretty cool. So it says they're using boom tubes to get around, which makes sense. They're working together with different characters' abilities, some that have a science background, some that have a magic background. The Question is head of security, which I thought was kind of funny. And so everyone gets together, and there's this nice spread. It's a 2-page spread with all the heroes gathered together. And of course, I haven't had all my coffee. Anyway, so there's a big speech. And then, of course, can't have everything be nice and happy in these comics for long. So something's going on. And some of the different heroes start speaking as if not themselves, and the text is all upside down. And then we see different flashes of imagery that are, again, all upside down. Omega beams. So you see the Omega beams coming around, and then it's Darkseid merged with the Spectre. Didn't see that one coming. All right. So he comes on the scene and, they have a little scuffle. And so apparently they defeat Darkseid and he says, "Thank you. Darkseid ends." And everyone's all confused and there's this riff in space and time. And so they decide to send Booster Gold because plot reasons. So when he goes through the rift, it looks like Darkseid's taken over everything. And then it ends with, "To be continued across the absolute universe." You have a nice Dan Mora 2-page spread with Darkseid's Legion. So I'm assuming these are twisted versions of the various DC heroes that he's kind of created, right? So then we got to flip over to the other book, which is on the other side. So then we get the Darkseid version of things. And I like the art on this side because it definitely harkens back to Jack Kirby. I will say that on the regular DC side, I thought the art was excellent too. And it actually kind of reminded me of older DC comics, older by maybe, 15, 20 years ago. And it just felt like a solid superhero art, if that makes sense. And then the Darkseid side of things just really reminded me of Jack Kirby, who, now I got to double check. I don't know if he came up with Darkseid, but I know he was involved with the New Gods, and so that's kind of all, blends together. So that was kind of cool. And I was trying to see who's doing the art on this side. Wes Craig is doing the art on this side. So I thought it was good. I have to look at Wes Craig's other work because I do like this style. It's, like I said, it's not exactly Jack Kirby, but it definitely kind of harkens back to that style. So Darkseid's doing Darkseid things. I won't get into too much of the detail. I mean, basically the bottom line is he feels like the universe is not right, and so he's got to make things right in his eyes. And so he merges with the Spectre so that he can figure things out. He can figure out what's going on with the universe. And we see some of our first imagery of the absolute heroes, and that's about it. So it ends up with Booster Gold running into this new Darkseid with basically his own universe. The thing I'm not super clear on is this Darkseid-esque universe, is it the absolute universe? So are these heroes, the Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman versions, are they in this Darkseid universe? That I'm not clear on. I'm thinking yes, but I could be wrong. So it remains to be seen. I know that Absolute Batman came out this week, so we'll have to see where this all leads. So all in all, I think the special was good as an introduction to kind of what's going to be happening, but I still feel like it's a little unclear the separation between absolute DC Comics and the all-in DC Comics. I think that's a little bit of a confusion for people. In fact, I've seen some online call the Absolute Comics basically a relaunch of DC Comics, and that's actually not the case. It's a separate thing, from what I understand at least, kind of like the Marvel Ultimate Comics. So DC could probably do a better job of telling us what's going on, perhaps, because it seems like some people online are confused. So that means like the average reader might be just as confused. They'll say, "Oh, it's a new Batman #1." And it's like, not exactly. It's a very different Batman. There's still the regular Batman, but then there's also the absolute Batman. But in any case, this review has gone on long enough. Again, in the end, I love the art in this, both sides of this comic. It's, like I said, it's an interesting introduction to this new soft reset, I'll call it, of the DC universe, and interested to see where it goes. Anyway, so that's been my review of the DC All-In special. I've been Jonathan, and you've been listening to Comic Talk Cafe.